In our last video, we took a look at kind of an overview of Agile. Now, in this video, we're going to look at some Agile terms that you'll see a lot inside of Jira, and that is stories and epics. Now, just like with the last video, if you're already familiar with Agile methodology, feel free to skip over this video. You'll be familiar with what stories and epics are, but I just wanted to lay the groundwork for some of this because you will see these a lot inside of Jira. All right, so let's start with stories. What are stories? Well, a story in Agile methodology is actually, it refers to like a user story. So in development, a user story is user-focused development. So you can see the formula here. As a blank, I want blank so that blank, right? So that's going to be as a whatever your role is. I want whatever sort of a feature or need is so that, and then what's the benefit from that? So the alternative, so think of it like, rather than having a project of building a user forum, maybe that would be a project. Well, as a developer, as somebody creating that, it's hard to know some of the things that you need to know in order to connect the dots once you actually get into the details. So a user story really helps with that. So rather than having a project of something like building a user discussion forum, you can say, as a user, I want to be able to talk to other users so that I can learn from them. Well, that's completely different than just building a user discussion forum, because then you're looking at it from the user's point of view, and so it's a lot easier to start filling in the blank when you actually get into a lot of those details. Now, it doesn't mean it's an all-encompassing solution. It's not going to tell you everything about every little detail. But when you look at it from the user's point of view, that really, really helps, especially in development. And really, it spans outside of development, but that's where it's most common. All right, so I know the concept of user stories can be kind of an abstract concept. So here's a couple examples that I made up for features that you might find on YouTube. Now, YouTube is something we're all familiar with, so you can kind of see what the end result was. But so here's one. As a content creator, I want to be able to upload any video so that I don't have to know how to convert videos to a web-friendly format myself. So the role is content creator. The feature or the desire that I want is the ability to upload any video, and then the benefit is that I don't have to know how to convert those myself. So there's a big difference between that and maybe just kind of a project that would be uploading videos as a project, right? That's not very descriptive. It's not very user-focused. It's more you as a developer looking at the functionality that needs to happen. But when you're talking about user stories, it's less about the actual functionality and more, why is this functionality important? Or another example that you would also find on YouTube, as an end user, I want to be able to comment on a video so that I control people. Okay, so that one probably was not an actual user story for the team at YouTube, but you get the gist there. So the role would be the end user, and then the desire is that I want to be able to comment on a video, and then the benefit would be that I control people. Now, whether or not that's a benefit, that's maybe up in the air, but hopefully you kind of get an idea of user stories there. So essentially, a story in Agile is sort of like a project, but it has a specific function, but more specifically for a specific user role in mind. Now, when using Jira for Agile, you'll see that most new cards on an Agile board are going to default to being a user story. So that's one reason why I kind of wanted to set that up, and it will default to that. Of course, you can change that. That would be something as your administrator, the Jira administrator can change. But out of the box, Jira will typically default to having a user story be what happens or when you create something. So what about epics? Well, as you might imagine, some user stories might take a little while to finish. So if you remember from our previous video, we were talking about sprints. Let's say we're working in a sprint and our sprint is 1 week. So let's say our previous example, as a content creator, I want to be able to upload any video so that I don't have to know how to convert the videos to a web-friendly format myself. that's really not something that's going to happen in a week. It's probably going to take longer to turn or to actually create that functionality. So that is where the epic comes in. So an epic is essentially a really large user story that needs multiple sprints to complete. So in order to accomplish an epic, you're going to break it up into smaller user stories. For example, so we have, as a content creator, or sorry for the misspelling there, I want to be able to upload any video so that I don't have to know how to convert videos to a web-friendly format myself. That can be the epic. Now, you could break this up into multiple stories that you may be able to accomplish in a week. So maybe the first week or the first sprint, you would accomplish the user story that is, as a content creator, I have the misspelling there again. As a content creator, I want to be able to upload a video so that I can see it online. So rather than actually going through figuring out how to convert the videos on the server, you're just focusing on uploading. And that would be the first part or the first user story for the epic. And then tied to that, and very closely tied to that, but a completely different user story, could be something else you do in a different sprint. Or that would be, as a content creator, I want the server to convert the videos for me so that I don't have to convert them myself. So together, you have two user stories that make up this one epic. So the idea there is that with the epic, you're able to track the user stories and kind of see what the progress is for the overall kind of the bigger picture where these user stories start to fit into place. All right, so if you're really brand new to Agile, I'd really recommend learning some more about it in order to get the most out of using Jira as an Agile tool. In the past couple of videos, we've looked at some very basic, very general Agile terms and kind of workflows and processes, but it's definitely not all-inclusive. There's so much into Agile that you can learn, and there's tons of great resources out there. But that's really all I'm going to cover in this particular course. I just want to lay some groundwork for some of the terms that you're going to see a lot inside of Agile. Now, in our next video, we're going to start looking at some Jira-specific terms to kind of get an idea of what they are and what they mean inside of Jira.